Hi, this is John Hart, and welcome back to my channel, Mr. America Hart. So today I'm going back to the mailbag. I told a lot of my subscribers on this channel that I would go ahead and answer a lot of the questions that were asked of me, either through my community posts or direct messages at this point, or any social media. But at this point, I actually had a client in the gym request, and she asked me if I would share on a video some of the books that I not just read but rely on, books that I keep going back to. And so I have a decent sized library in my den with a lot of books, and the truth of the matter is that these books that are sitting on this bench in front of me, which you can't see, I'm going to put them on camera, these books are the ones that influence me the most, and I do keep going back to them. And some, it's been decades, and I still go back to them and rely on the information that's in them. And I'm going to break it down into two segments for you. If there's anything you guys know about me, there's two aspects to my life that stand out the most. And in my world, number one is I'm a Christian, and my Christianity, my faith in God, my faith in general is number one. My bodybuilding and everything that's come out of it, I thank God for. And my bodybuilding also is number two. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to give you all of the things, the books that I do rely on in that order. Number one, first and foremost, I have three books that are all based on my faith, that is the basis of my faith. And number one is the Holy Bible. I have a New King James right here, giant print, center column, reference edition, red letter edition, New King James, Holy Bible. This Bible right here has been through it all with me. I rely on this one. I go to it daily or semi-daily, and I use it quite often. It's a nice paper Bible, and I also have my Bible apps on my phone if I want to go and use something like that, to use it as a supplement to that. Secondly, within my faith, once again, I have God's Creative Power by Charles Capps. It's a gift collection book. It's a small little book. You can find this one on Amazon. And this book not only influenced me in strengthening my faith with the great testimonies in it, but it also influenced deeply how I use my words. My words are powerful. And so I know this, and I'm going to use them very diligently and very wisely. And I'm going to be selective in the words that I use. So this influenced me greatly in that realm. Thirdly, if any of you have followed me on Facebook or on any of my other social media, you see that I do Christian radio. I do also, I'm on the Pillars of Faith Christian app. So if you look up Pillars of Faith Christian on your smartphone, you'll find the app on there, and you'll see that I'm on 3 or 4 or 5 times a month on Pastor Glenn Curry's show. This book he gifted me with, and it's The Blessing of the Lord, It Makes You Rich. And that's Proverbs 10:22 by Pastor Glenn Curry. And this booklet right here also greatly influenced me in my faith, but also I refer back to these three books quite often. Now, moving on to my bodybuilding, I have two that you sort of expect from some of the videos that I've done. One of them is Mike Mentzer, Heavy Duty Part 2, Mind and Body. This one, back in the early 90s, was one of the most influential books that I've read, and I do have a couple of copies on it on hand at all times because I do refer back to it quite a bit. Mike was a training mentor of mine in some ways, and a friend also. He passed away in 2001. And as well, we have High Intensity Training, The Mike Mentzer Way. This is the book that he came out with after that one, and it's the other major book that he came out with. And this one he was right about to complete when he passed away, and it was finished after he was done. And both of those books, in particular the second one, High Intensity Training, The Mike Mentzer Way, it has 7 principles that are outlined in the front part of this book. And those 7 principles I find to be applicable to all training, whether we're talking about my own bodybuilding, an athlete's training, it could be a weekend warrior, it could be just someone who's interested in general fitness. But all of the principles that are outlined in that book, they influence how I design programs. Very important. And then as we get on with our bodybuilding, we have right here, Ripped by Clarence Bass. Ripped 1, actually, by Clarence Bass. This one I read early on when it first came out. And, oh man, back in the late 80s I read it, the 90s. And, you know, the biggest influence he's had on me has been with my diet. Like Clarence, I'm an omnivore, and I do eat a little bit of everything, and I don't eat too much of anything. I don't eat too much fat. I don't eat too much carbs. I don't eat too much protein. I keep it relatively low calorie most of the year, and then I also, I control those calories, but then I also eat mainly carbohydrates, about 50-65% in that zone, depending on the time of the year. And Ripped 2, this book right here, the follow-up to Ripped 1, Clarence came out with, and whew, man, this picture on the back, you have to look at this to really appreciate it. In this picture, he was 41 years old when he won the Mr. America, past 40, and he was just ripped to the bone. So I was very interested in how this man ate and how he trained. And that diet of his, on point. I really appreciated it. So I'll put all the links for these books, by the way, down in the video description of this video so you can find them yourself. Next up, I have the new high-intensity training from Dr. Ellington Darden, PhD. Now, this book right here was a real blessing. It not only goes into detail on a lot of the training that Dr. Darden does, but it also, the best part about Dr. Darden and his books is that he likes to keep track and have proof of the end result of his training and his diet methods on the clients, on the person that he's training. So when he does, he offers up great testing methods that they use at usually universities. And so it's not just measuring with a tape measure that you can pull tighter or keep loose. It's not just weighing somebody on a scale. It's not just skin calipers that you can go ahead and pinch extra tight or leave a little loose at times. So I like that he's using other measurable methods, more accurate methods of the changes in lean body mass as well as the changes in the fat mass of the people that he trains. And keeping in line with that, Dr. Darden wrote this one particular book. He's written many books, by the way, but this one in particular, Bigger Muscles in 42 Days. This one is in my library. It's one of the most influential ones, one of the ones that I refer back to quite a bit. I like it. There's a lot of detail in this. There's a lot that he talks about in here. You'd have to check out for yourself, and you'll know why. Again, he's like a doctor. He likes to keep some good detail. And in doing that book and all of his books, but those two in particular that I mentioned, he's very detail-oriented, and he gives reasons why he does what he does. Lastly, and again, this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the 10th book I'm showing you right here. I'd be remiss if I left this one out. This is The Permanent Pain Cure, and it's written by Ming Chu and Stephanie Golden. Ming Chu was a national level bodybuilder who had a shoulder injury and eventually was treated by a chiropractor, a therapist, and it turned him on to become a chiropractor and then eventually a therapist. And he has his own methods. He calls it the Ming method. It's described in this book for doing some self-rehab, for preventing injuries. He covers some of the dietary anti-inflammation approaches that we can take as bodybuilders or just as healthy individuals. And I really appreciate everything that he has to say in this book. He had an amazing physique too, by the way. We go way back, but it's a side story for later on. But yeah, those are my 10 books that I do refer to most often, that I read, have read, continue to read, well into my 50s now. And some of them I've had for decades, and then some of them I've just recently picked up. But I do refer back to them quite often. So that question came from my client, Stephanie Granger. And Stephanie, I appreciate it. And listen, you guys watching this video, my subscribers, even if you're not a subscriber, down below, I'm open to all comments. I love reading your comments. Please, let me know what kind of books you read. Share with us. which books you read and how they've influenced you, whether it's in your bodybuilding or in your spiritual life, whichever. Share with us down below. Love to hear what kind of books you love to read or like to read and keep referring back to. Before you go, I'd be remiss. Before you go, on the bottom right-hand side, you have a red subscribe button over there. If you want to get notifications of when I have new videos popping up, go right ahead and pop that red subscribe button. Just tap it with your finger right now. Yeah, just like that. Just give it a little boop, like that. Good job. Good job. And you'll get notified every time I have a new video come up. Off to your left, you have a thumbs up button over there. YouTube loves when we have nice thumbs up on our videos. Please hit that thumbs up button. And that's it for today. From my heart to you, John Hart. Looking forward to seeing you again.
Hey, do you want John to be your personal trainer? Get your training and diet managed online by Mr. America himself. Go to MrAmericaHeart.com. It's in the link right here below in the video's description.